Steve, thank you for joining me. Very, very excited to talk to you again and get your take on follow-up email. So I've been talking to sales professionals and really marketing people who send a lot of emails or do a lot of sales on what their approach is for following up, whether it's phone call, email, whatever. So I guess I'll start off with maybe we should start off with an intro from yourself, and then we'll go into questions.
Sure, glad to. Thanks for having me today. So my name is Steve Woods, CTO with Nudge.ai, and we're a B2B sales platform that uses AI to help salespeople become better at their craft, help them build relationships and build trust and manage those long cycle deals that involve things like following up, as you mentioned.
Awesome. So you've got, I know, again, as a user of Nudge, I know how I follow up, but I don't want to talk about me. It's about you. So let's jump into kind of the first question. What is your general rule of following up? Like, do you have an approach that you try to use or a formula or whatnot?
Sure. I think for us and for the sales organizations that we serve, a lot of those are, just to set the context, very long cycle deals. So you might have a buyer who is a good fit, there's potentially a pain there, but they might not be ready within their organization to buy the thing that you're selling for months, maybe quarters, maybe years. And over that period of time, the challenge of following up is finding a way to stay top of mind, to stay relevant, and to help them move down that buying journey bit by bit. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's just staying top of mind with them. Sometimes it's understanding where their mind space might be at today and taking an opportunity to say, hey, I think you need to look at the world a little bit differently. Maybe I can introduce a new concept, a new idea, put it in the back of your mind, and as you're thinking through things, that's going to sit there, and if it resonates, we'll be able to talk sales later. It's a very long cycle sale up where you're guiding the buyer through a process.
Gotcha. So you want to keep that process, your goal in the follow-up is to keep that process moving or kind of be more top of mind or give that little nudge, no pun intended, nudge forward, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really comes down to understanding first where every buyer is at, and then using that as the starting point rather than just saying, okay, in the next 12 days, I'm going to hammer on your door until you take a meeting with me. We're really looking at it in a longer term frame of reference and saying, you're a good fit as a buyer. I understand that buying journey might take a long time. How do I understand where you are first and foremost? And then from that understanding of you and your journey, how do I craft the next message that is going to move you along?
Gotcha. Okay. So in terms of your follow-up and how you do that, are there any type of, I guess, like phrases you recommend, including, not including, what's some kind of, I guess, like what would be the first follow-up? You got the conversation, you've got they're interested, they need to talk to their boss, they need to do something. What next?
Yeah, so I think there's a few different categories there, and it really depends on what you think you can achieve as a goal. A lot of the challenges that we've seen come down to this sort of idea that if you're going to talk to somebody, it has to be pitching the product that you're selling. Well, the best salespeople actually develop a relationship that is wider than that. And if you see an opportunity with that person to cheer them on, to engage on something else, to champion something that they're doing, to broaden the topic into sports or beer or politics, if you dare go there, broaden the topic based on them and their interests, and engage with them as a human, you've opened up that dialogue a lot more than you ever would if you were pitching feeds and speeds. So the first thing really is understand them. Mm-hmm. Understand what they do in social media, understand their interests, understand their company, and from there, look for opportunities to engage. Half of those opportunities are engaging just as a human. Hey, I see that your boss just swapped out. Well, you must be feeling a bit nervous about that. What are you going to do? What's your plan? Hey, I just saw you just had this award. Congratulations, that's awesome. And making those opportunities to engage reflect the fact that they're a human with a broad set of needs, and only when there's a good opportunity to say, hey, here's the product that I'm pitching, insert that into the conversation.
I love that. I mean, I think that's I think just for everyone. So my take on this and the key takeaway you told me was that is to engage as a human being and include relevant life events, things that would resonate with that person instead of like, hey, I wanted to follow up to see where we're at with this deal. I mean, obviously you're doing that, but you're not saying that, right? So that's awesome. And one thing you mentioned I want to dig deeper on is the social elements, right? So I know Nudge does this. It gathers a lot of the information and whatnot and gives you this robust view. But when you are following up, do you use any of the social channels to supplement your follow-ups via email or phone calls?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think any of the social channels where your buyers exist, for us, that's a pretty broad range from Twitter to LinkedIn to Facebook. And a lot of the channels, they exist, they're there. Understand kind of how they view it. I don't think there's a right answer to say, oh my God, LinkedIn is only this, Twitter is only this, Facebook is only that. But have a view of how that buyer sees it. If your buyer is only ever talking about sports and family on Facebook, well, don't jump into a business conversation there. That's not going to feel right for them. Whereas for another person, maybe they talk business all the time there. Great, fine, engage with them, but understand that buyer first. For us, we go where the buyers are in terms of the social channels, but if there's an opportunity to engage and you can find the context of how they view that channel, then there's a great opportunity to weigh in there and become part of that conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's going where they are, engaging where they're already engaging. And then if you see conversations, you can jump into that conversation. So it's like, it sounds like it's almost like a little subtle, like, hey, I'm still here. We now have a relationship. It's getting into that relationship zone through the social channels so that you can stay top of mind. So you don't have to keep following up over email.
And I think the other thing I'd add to that, which is an interesting point, which is a little paradoxical for some salespeople, is you almost want to slam the door on the business conversation in some cases, right? Like if you have some interesting, your company just has a great funding round, and I reach out to you and say, hey, congrats on the funding round. You going to spend some of that with me? Remember the product I was pitching you with? I've immediately positioned myself as a sales guy just trying to get your money, right? Whereas if I slam the door, I'm like, hey, congrats on the funding round, saw it, that's awesome, rock on, you guys are great. Bang, door is slammed. It feels like a congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an interest, hey, maybe the conversation goes from there, but I haven't put myself there as the only reason I'm reaching out is to try and sell more, and the reason I'm reaching out really is actually a fraud. Reach out, congratulate, engage with them as a human, but don't try and sort of tease that door open too much. You might want to be deliberate and slam the door and just let the human side of the relationship develop. And when it does, there's an opportunity to not pitch, but guide a person's thinking along the direction that you need their thinking to go if they're going to become a buyer of your solutions.
Got it. And so, this whole time we've talked about these like larger engagements, longer sales cycle. Do you think there's a big difference between, smaller, shorter sales cycle or smaller sale and kind of what you've described?
Very much. Yeah. If you're selling something that is quite tactical and you're reaching out to vast volumes of people, they either buy or they don't buy, realistically, that's not a relationship. That's a pitch. Make it good, convert it, move on. Excellent. I don't have experience in that area, so I can't offer a lot of advice there.
Yeah.
Great, become very, very good at that. But it's not a relationship. It's not something where you want to know that person and have them know you on a first name basis and build the trust, because you use trust to open the door to shifting a point of view. If I want you to think about your business a little bit differently, first you need to trust that I'm coming from a good place with that. And when I've established that trust, then I can say, hey, Sujin, maybe you should think about this a little bit differently. Here's kind of a way that some people have thought about that problem. You're like, I never constructed the problem that way. That's interesting. Thank you. And you've taken a step on the buying journey. But only long cycle, kind of big complex deals tend to need that level of shift in thinking. If it's a tactical pitch, it's a very different sales cycle.
Gotcha. And just a couple more questions for you. So first of all, do you include like value add? Do you include content or collaterals or any marketing collaterals into your follow-ups, or and how?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point in what's going on today. I think, and looking at the marketing side of the world, some marketing organizations are really having to adapt a little bit to get to the level that sales needs. Because if you're looking at a buyer who really has control of the information they need, they can Google, they can look on your website, they can look on various industry sites, they can find all the facts and figures they need. So sending those as a salesperson is of limited value.
Yep.
The valuable things are when you can send something that is so nuanced and specific that you wouldn't have discovered it on your own. You know, if you've gone deep in a couple of areas, and I see based on that history, you're trying to set up something that looks like this and this and this in the free product that is being offered, and I can say, hey, here's a really interesting case study of somebody who went even deeper than you've gone so far. Do you want me to connect you with them because they're a great person and would love to chat? Hey, that's amazing. That's so deep and so specific and so specific to you as a buyer, it becomes valuable. But if I just say, hey, thanks for visiting our website, here's a high-level value prop, like, well, yeah, it was on your website already. Thanks. That's not helpful.
Yeah. You're just saying it.
You've got to deliver that specificity, which means marketing needs to create that specificity, and sellers need to understand where you are on the journey so they can say what next you might need in terms of specificity.
Gotcha. So one last question. What is the best follow-up you've received? Someone selling you or whatever in your career?
That's a good question. To me, it comes out of often support inquiries. If I've struggled with something on a free trial, I'm trying to configure a certain type of advertising, and I do some random marketing in my side job. If I'm trying to configure something and I'm struggling with that, and I receive a follow-up that says, hey, I can help, I'm a consultant with that, here's some material, here's a case study, here's a video overview, that immediately, it's interesting because I don't even think of it as a sales follow-up. It's somebody who is reaching out to help me, and out of that interaction, I may end up doing better and spending more money with them. So therefore, they probably count themselves as a commissioned salesperson. I count them as someone who's helping me do the thing I was trying to do. So you see what I mean? It's not even in my mind great sales follow-up. It's just amazingly helpful, success-oriented outreach. But for that business, it drove more new revenue.
Interesting. Yeah, that's true. Because you're talking about more like sales enablement and actually connecting support into that, right? Like I find like very few support departments ever think about sales or upsells or cross sells or in that perspective. So that's interesting. Well, awesome.
I think those lines are getting crossed significantly. The best salespeople understand the product very, very deeply. The best support people know how to guide a person up the journey. It's becoming more one and the same.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Steve, for this. Where can people find you?
Nudge.ai. I'm available on all the usual channels. Nudge.ai, you can find out anything about Nudge, and we welcome the conversation. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care.